Talk 100.3.
12:24, a very good afternoon. And now on the radio with us in the studios is Nick Dillon. He's the COO of Smart Salem. He's an international healthcare expert with over 20 years of leading large-scale cross-functional global teams within the clinical and risk sector. But he's not here for that. He's here because they've introduced a very advanced gut health testing program in the UAE. And we're going to be talking about that and more. Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
Hi, brilliant, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. Really excited.
Very excited myself, and I wanted to know exactly what this is.
So, gut health, as Smart Salem, we've been involved in medical screening and medical testing throughout the UAE for many years. And we're trying to expand that into getting in the world of preventative healthcare and preemptive healthcare for people. As part of that, as well as our other tests that we're doing, we've launched a brand new gut health microbiome program that's open for people to come and make the most of.
Okay, but how exactly, how important is gut health? I don't think a lot of people know fully about it. We just talk about it very loosely.
No, exactly, 100%. And this is part of the reason why we're here and why we're really trying to promote this. Gut health, the research is coming in. Over the past 10 years, there's been a huge amount of research and studies that we're gradually understanding the increasing importance that our gut health and our gut microbiome play across all of the assets of our health, from psychological to physical, to the health of our skin and the way that we move throughout our life. The research is showing there's an extensive relationship between our gut microbiome, which for those who aren't aware is the collection of all the various little microorganisms and bacterial cells that live within your gut system. They all help us day to day. They do aspects of vitamins and metabolizing various parts of our food and processes that our normal body can't do. They work with us. They make up between 2 to 3 kilograms of your body weight. They play a fundamental role in all aspects of our life, from vitamins to psychological to overall general health.
All right. And how is it different from all the existing tests that we have? Because we have quite a few already for gut.
Yeah, so what's interesting about this is that previously the only way to really look at your gut health was to take a sample of stool and then examine it and grow the bacterial cultures. We didn't really have anything to put it against previously. We didn't really understand the interactions of those bacteria and that microbiome and how it affects your body. With advances in DNA technology, what we're able to do now is to actually take the samples and examine the actual DNA of all of the microbiome that is in the sample. From there, we can actually take that DNA, map it across to the various organisms, and off the back of the research that's continuing now and has been done for the past 10 years, put that on and understand how that interacts and the clinical outcomes and the clinical outputs of that to enable you to actually make a difference and actually change the biome and live a healthier and better life from it.
Okay, so if you can give us an example of once you get these reports and you understand what your gut microbiome is all about, what kind of changes are expected?
No, exactly. And this is something that I think that where there has been struggles previously in some of these more advanced techniques is the so what from it. And that's why we've made sure to actually include, as part of our program, you will get a 1 hour discussion and clinical talk with our clinical dietitian going through your results to create actionable changes. Now, this might be improving your overall gut health diversity, which is a fundamental part by increasing fiber in your diet, examining how you're eating, or taking specific actions to increase through prebiotics or probiotics the various gut microbiological organisms in there as well. So it is actionable.
It is something like your allergy test, what exactly is causing a certain trigger or...
Yeah, it's far more in depth than that. So previously when we're looking at, and this is where the interesting piece comes from it, when we're looking at simple blood tests, this is going that's downstream. So it's how your blood is sitting, how your absorption rates. The actual gut microbiome affects that. So this is even moving further up, so you can get actually ahead of the curve before you have any deficiencies in your blood, before you feel any clinical symptoms, by looking at your gut biome, assessing its status, assessing its diversity, and taking actions to change that and bring it back into line with what is normally counted as healthy. You can get ahead of any of those systems. So it's moving that ability to interact with your health even earlier in the process.
Okay, and also, what are the typical symptoms or conditions that prompt individuals to take this test?
So it's really interesting across the world. I think that the study of gut health is slowly catching up with the reality. So 50% of all people in the world actually have clinical symptoms of gut illness. We actually did a survey throughout the UAE where the vast majority, 1 in 5 people, have daily gut issues. Classic symptoms are the feeling of bloating, the feeling of malaise, different stool habits, or a feeling of fullness. But it extends beyond that. So gut health doesn't just look at what we would normally perceive as gut health. It's linked to depression, it's linked to high blood pressure, it's linked to type 2 diabetes. And this is the really interesting aspect of it, is it goes far beyond simple gut health. That the symptoms of a poor microbiome include items such as dermatitis, depression, cardiovascular sets on. So it shouldn't just be looked at within the criteria of simple gut health as we would see it, and feeling of bloating and IBS, which is absolutely relevant, but it actually is beyond that.
Talk 100.3.
Right, we still have with us Nick Dillon. He is from Smart Salem, and we're talking about this new gut health testing program. We're getting some questions for you, Nick. Let's take them. One is from Tina. She's asking, what foods promote gut health?
So as a general rule, again, if you want to know more about it, definitely consult a dietitian. But as a general catch-all, hydration and fiber. So imagine that all of the microbiome and all these bacterial cells that live up and are a fundamental part of your health that live in your gut, generally their food stuff is fiber. By increasing the fiber within our diet, we actually increase the food stuff we're giving them that allow them to be healthy, which in turn allows us to be healthy as well. Okay. So hydration, fiber. Stress, again, is making sure you can reduce stress that has an impact on gut health.
Right. Another question that we got is, how do we know that our gut needs attention?
You can wait until you do have symptoms. So if you do feel there is bloating or you are feeling clinical effects of it, obviously it is a first catch call.
But bloating is so common, like you might feel it almost every other day.
But you shouldn't. And this is the point, is that a lot of people suffer through this without any actual reason. You can do something about that. Bloating and discomfort doesn't have to be tolerated. You can actually action something, and you can take, by engaging in these sort of tests that we're having these days, that is changeable. You don't have to suffer anymore. And this is sort of one of the main points of it, is that you don't have to wait until you're really sick to start looking at these things and getting attention.
All right. Well, another question that has come in, this one's from Mahi. She's asking, what's the cost of this test?
So this is $2,500 in our centres. And with that, you'll get the gut health. What we make sure is you make the journey good. So you will come in, you'll have a talk with one of our nurses who will run you through the process. You'll do the process, we'll pick it up from your home when the sample's done, and at the back end of it you'll get a really, really comprehensive DNA analysis of your gut microbiome and a 1-hour consultation with a clinical dietitian. It's not just a nutritionist, a clinical dietitian, and lots of advice off the back of that, life-changing advice and dietary advice about how you can actually make actionable changes and the implications of what that test.
So once you take this test and you get all the advice that you get from the expert and also all the results that you get, how soon do you need to do another one, or is this just once in a lifetime kind of a thing?
So unlike other DNA tests, so if you got a DNA test of your DNA, that's you. With gut microbiome, it does fluctuate. So again, you can follow it up, but hopefully you will have had a decent change. I think it should be something done. If there's any major life change, antibiotics impacts hugely on gut health. So certainly if you've taken a strain of antibiotics, or you'll have taken a lot of antibiotics, that would be cause to have another assessment, I would suggest. And similarly, when you're looking at any other major life changes or onset of new symptoms or any change in your system, it could trigger one of the tests that you might want to do to get ahead of any curves.
A couple of years down the line, maybe?
Yeah, it's up to the individual. It really
depending on the changes that
depending on the changes. Like if you are otherwise stable, you've otherwise got a very good relationship, there's no particular ongoing illnesses, then yeah. But if there is something that's changing, then it is something to consider.
It's interesting you mentioned about antibiotics, because that's one cause of concern. We keep popping pills all the time. Whenever we feel a little bit of discomfort in terms of our headaches or like stomach pain or anything, we pop pills, without even consulting a doctor. And how much is too much really when it comes to these pills?
Well, again, so antibiotics should be prescribed by a doctor, and that'll be done for a clinical cause. I think outside an individual, as a global situation, I think antibiotics is something that there's a lot of antibiotic guardianship is. I think certainly is another reason that people should be interested in looking at their gut microbiome. Now we understand the implications of having reduced diversity within our gut microbiome. I think this is something that should really pique people's interest. I think over the next years, as this research base comes online, I think that there will be broader discussions around that. But again, it is another reason that people should be interested in the gut microbiome.
One more question. This one's about the protein intakes. We take a lot of protein shakes and supplements. Does that also impact the gut negatively?
Again, it's on an individual basis, but my view is effectively all the gut, you've got lots of different microbiomes, microbial aspects living within your gut. They all require different levels of sustenance. If you adopt protein as part of a broad and healthy diet, again, I think the general consensus is that that is a workable solution. However, if you adopt protein at the expense of other more broader diet and at the expense of fiber and greenery and all the other good stuff we know we should be eating, I think that might have an implication in the broader nutrition sense. Again, if you are concerned, the best thing to do is to seek a consultation. I think everyone should not have there should be very little barriers to asking questions about it. Do research, seek consultation, and consider a bucket.
Can we do a consultation with you without taking the test?
For sure,
take the
absolutely.
Consultation and then do the test if required?
Absolutely. So we have a clinical dietitian on staff. We've got an extensive clinical team on staff. Everyone's coming. We've brought people in from Europe, from all around the world, the best to come in there, a similar test. If you have any concerns, come in, book an appointment, and we'll guide you to the right directions.
All right. Nick Dillon there from Smart Salem. Thank you so much for joining in.
Pleasure. Thank you.
This is Talk 100.3.